The third quarter wasn't basketball. It was theater whistles, cutting through the noise every 10 seconds. Bodies crashing to the floor. And yet somehow, the game was framed as a triumph for the Las Vegas Aces. Watch how it unfolded. A'ja Wilson creams Lexi Hull on a screen, the same illegal hit she'd gotten away with 5 times in Game 1. And finally, the refs call it. One call against Vegas, and Becky Hammon erupts on the sideline, screaming like the world was ending. The irony. She'd already been gifted 15 straight whistles before that moment. That was the tone of Game 2. Chaos masquerading as defense, officiating dressed up as intensity. Lexi Hull never even had a chance to play clean. Wilson was on her from the jump, leaning on her, shoving her through screens, pushing her off balance. Then, insult to injury. Hull gets tagged with the foul. That's how the Fever watched Game to slip. Not because Vegas outplayed them, but because the officials tilted the floor so far toward the champs that Indiana never got their rhythm back. 40-1. Fouls. 16 of them in a single quarter. Players were being thrown to the hardwood, elbows and backs, arms hooked around waists. And while Indiana was forced into ragged half-court sets, A'ja Wilson walked away praised for her stat line. What got ignored was how she got it pounding her way into the paint, using forearms instead of footwork, and getting bailed out at the free throw line while Lexi Hull played through a back injury she suffered in Game 1. This wasn't basketball. It was survival. And still, Indiana fought. Game 1 had already flipped the series on its head. Nobody expected the Fever, a young squad with little playoff experience, to march into Vegas and dominate the defending champs. But that's what they did. They controlled the tempo, refused to get rattled, and behind Kelsey Mitchell's playoff career-high 34 points, they dismantled the Aces by 16. Vegas fans had to sit in stunned silence as A'ja Wilson clanked shot after shot. Finishing just 6 for 22, Aaliyah Boston owned the paint without fouling, and the Fever's discipline turned what should have been a slugfest into a surgical strike. That win wasn't luck, it was execution. It was Indiana's blueprint: composure under fire, defense without chaos, and a refusal to let the moment overwhelm them. But if Game 1 was proof, Indiana belonged. Game 2 was proof Vegas wasn't ready to let their crown slip quietly. The Aces didn't come to play basketball. They came to fight. From the opening tip, it was clear. Screens weren't set, they were collisions. Cuts turned into shoves, and the whistle never stopped. 16 fouls in the third quarter alone, the same quarter where every Fever run was suffocated before it started. Steph White, Indiana's coach, summed it up bluntly: "It's hard for us to find flow when there's a foul called every 10 seconds. That's what this series has become. Indiana thrives on flow-on-ball movement, timing, spacing. But in Game 2, every rhythm they built was hacked apart by stoppages. And yet, through it all, Lexi Hull fought back. Remember, she was a game-time decision, barely cleared after tweaking her back in Game 1. Most players would have sat. She suited up. She got knocked down. She got back up. And in between, she buried 5 threes, tying a Fever playoff record. That's not just grit. That's defiance. A statement that no matter how ugly Vegas made it, Indiana wasn't folding. Meanwhile, the national media ignored it. Hull's toughness didn't trend. Boston's 13 bruising rebounds didn't make headlines. Sims' 18 points under suffocating pressure barely got a mention. Instead, it was A'ja Wilson's box score plastered everywhere: 25 points, 9 rebounds, 5 steals. The highlight reels never showed how many of those came gift-trapped at the stripe. They never showed Boston getting shoved off her spots without whistles. They didn't show the missed hacks on Sims as she tried to carve out any sliver of offense. But the Fever know the truth. And they know Game 2 wasn't lost on strategy alone. Vegas made one key adjustment: shut down Kelsey Mitchell. In Game 1, she torched them for 34. In Game 2, she was squeezed into silence, held to just 13. The Aces face-guarded her, denied her touches, turned every cut into a collision, every screen into a war. They clogged passing lanes and forced the ball into other hands. It worked. But it only worked because the whistle allowed that physicality to spiral out of control. Even Becky Hammon admitted afterward the game was too physical. That should tell you everything. Now here's the twist. The series shifts to Indianapolis. Gainbridge Fieldhouse. A place where 17,000 Fever fans aren't just loud, they're suffocating. This isn't Vegas anymore, where whistles are drowned out by Aces fans cheering. This is Indiana, where every shove against Boston draws gasps. Every no call against Hull gets roars. Every Mitchell bucket ignites a frenzy. The Fever don't just get home court, they get a weapon. Because officiating bias can't hide in silence when 17,000 voices demand accountability. Hull said it best after the game. Our fans, they show up and they show out. That's the difference now. Indiana already proved they can beat Vegas on the road. They nearly did it again through whistles and chaos. Now, they get to play in front of the loudest crowd in the WNBA. The Aces think they stole momentum. What they really did was wake up a franchise and hand them fuel. Game 3 isn't just another night. It's the Fever's chance to turn pain into power. To show that grit beats whistles, that poise beats chaos, and that no dynasty is untouchable when 17,000 fans demand a different ending. So, here's the question. What happens when Vegas can't hide behind whistles anymore? What happens when Mitchell's frustration turns into fire? When Boston's bruises turn into strength?